Hey everyone, let me know if we're live following the price right now for Bitcoin. We just came really close to the 20-week moving average, so I just wanted to jump on a live stream here and kind of talk about what's going on. So let's talk about it. It has, you can see that we did come down to it here. This is on the USD, looking at Bitcoin USD. We have had a wick directly down to the 20-week moving average against USD, which, remember, was devalued fairly recently. So it looks like we have tested the 20-week now. We hadn't a day ago, but it looks like we have tested it. So we'll see if it holds, right? We'll see if it holds. We'll see what happens. Like if it holds, then things could turn around quickly over the next few weeks. If it doesn't hold, then we know what that means, right? It means we're essentially kicking the can down the road, and it's basically just saying, we were not ready yet, right? We were not ready to hold the 20-week, but we'll see. I mean, I think there's still a chance, right? We had a wick down to it. It looks like we fought it off on the first attempt. Looks like the Bears or the Bulls were victorious a few minutes ago, but again, this. Obviously, we could easily go below it in a very short period of time. But remember, what we're looking for is a weekly close below it. A weekly close below it is what would really scare or drive confidence away from altcoins, especially. So what we are especially looking for is if there is a weekly close below it. If there's a weekly close below it, then this is when we would, this is when the rest of the market would obviously not be doing so well, right? And I understand that alts have already bled, but if Bitcoin goes below the 20-week, if it's closing down, somewhere down here, I would anticipate that alts would bleed a lot harder. Even though they've already bled a lot harder, they would continue to bleed a lot harder against Bitcoin. And this is why we always say, you take profits during any bubble because you don't know how high it's going to go. Therefore, you take profits back to either Bitcoin or back to USD, and you just continue on the journey. So again, we're still above the 20-week right now, but we are going to want to see if it holds. So I mean, really, this, if it does hold, right? If it does hold, then I would anticipate it being a fairly good time to kind of reload, right? A good time to reload on some different positions. If it doesn't hold, okay, and remember, buying altcoins right now would be incredibly risky, really very, very risky to buy altcoins. Potential high ROI, but super risky right now. I would not be buying altcoins right now. I think the way it stands, it's that it will, all eyes are on Bitcoin. Like, all eyes are on Bitcoin. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me post. Let me actually post in a couple chats. But yeah, I was jumping on when it was going down, and we basically tested it. Let's see how close we came. So it came down to 98.50, and on Bitstamp, the 20-week is 98.20. So I mean, we've certainly tested it at least once. The question is will it hold? And if it does, this is a good thing, right? Because we've said all along that we need to, we need to hold the 20-week at some point during the market cycle. It's just a matter of when. So here we are, at least trying. Let me go ahead and post the video in my Telegram channel so people are aware that it's going on. So, no, someone says, did it fill the CME gap? The CME gap, it's all the way down at like 9,600, right? Or it spans 96 to 99. I anticipate if it is going to get filled, it would need to go down a bit more. But it looks like at least for the first test, it was held. So now we're just going to want to see, and what we're looking for, right, is we're looking for a weekly close above, right? We want the weekly candle to close above the 20-week. So we still have like over a day, right? Over a day that we're looking for this to say close above it. Again, though, if it closes down here, if it closes down here, well, then we've seen what happens, right? There's no reason to sugarcoat it, right? We're not going to sugarcoat things here and tell you something that isn't going to happen likely. Now, if you see these, these candles coming down below, it typically is not a good thing, right? I mean, you can see the last two times that it happened. I mean, we came all the way down to the 100 week the first time, and then the second time we broke it, we came down to the 200 week. So we had this there's a little bit more of a warning here because we had this candle, and then we just shot down, and we actually went down to the 300 week moving average when that happened. So what we're looking for again is to hopefully hold it this time, and if we don't, then we don't, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. If we don't, that's just how it goes, and we're still going to continue marching along our journey, because I mean, really nothing has changed, right? I mean, we're still in with some regards, we're ahead of schedule in terms of getting back to 20K. So remember, the narrative I've been saying all along, right, is a sustainable 20K into 2021, early 2022, not a moment before, right? We're not making it to 20K this year. Most likely, we've said that many times, it's not happening, despite what crypto Twitter wants you to believe. This is likely not happening. So the lower bound, right? So kind of like where you see, if it were to break the 20-week, and again, we're not saying that it will, but if it were, I think that one of the next likely stop on that path, if it breaks the 20-week, well, first of all, remember there is the CME gap, right, at 9,600. So maybe we'll fill that, and a wick below the 20-week doesn't mean anything, right? If you see it go to 9,600, fill the gap, then come back up to the 20-week, it's still business as usual. If we break the 20-week, the 50-week is at 87.20, so maybe we would go there. But the 100-week is down at 76.81 or so. So this would kind of be the point I would be eyeballing. And then after that, I would be looking at the 200-week, right, which is at 65.30. Or 65.79, which is pretty close to the lower bound of the regression band, which currently we're still in the upper bound part of now. So, yeah, we'll continue to follow it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. It's still above it right now. We did have a successful test of it. I would say at least we have tested the 20-week now. Now the question, right, is are we going to hold it or not? And again, this is anyone's guess, right? And we have shown before. We've speculated on the likelihood, right? I mean, we've looked at it has failed to hold it twice already. So let me get rid of some of these. So remember, we've tried it 2 times already this cycle and failed to hold it, right? And after each time we failed to hold it, it was a pretty significant move down, right? This was one, this was the other, okay? And if you go back, as we've mentioned, the first time we tried to hold it back in 2015, we failed to hold it. But it was the second time where we got the big check mark, right? And then we were off to the races. And remember, during the last time, it was similar, and it was like a 20% drop down to the 20-week, and now we're currently looking at about the same dip so far. So about, if you go from like the top down to the 20-week, it's about a 20% drop. So, as of right now, there's still a chance we hold it, right? There's still a chance we hold it, and if we do hold it, then maybe we slowly, trickle back up to the prior all-time high. If we don't hold it, then again, this is where you really, not financial advice, but you really would not want to be in a lot of altcoins. Again, there's some, I think, that would be okay, but for the most part, a lot of these coins, and we warned you guys about this, a lot of these coins that are like these micro caps that have been going up like 100x and whatnot, these coins are the ones that stand to bleed the most, right? Or the ones that stand to bleed the most if in fact we break the 20-week. And they've already bled a lot, right? Which is why we talk on the channel all the time about dynamic DCA, right? Taking profits on the way up. And it doesn't go just for, it goes for altcoins, Ethereum, Link, ADA, whatever it might be. It's always talking about taking profits on the way up. But again, we're gonna try to stay on the stream here a little bit and see maybe if we can get another test of the 20-week, which again is about $9,800. So we still have we're currently at about 10.1. So this is the level that we need to hold. And if we hold this, I think it's a good thing. The lines, someone says, why are these lines so thick? The lines are thick just so that it shows up better on YouTube. In the past, I had some complaints that people viewing it on mobile, when the lines aren't thick, had a hard time seeing what was going on. And again, it's not like a trick, right? It's not like I'm trying to play a trick on exactly where it is. It's just that there is a lot of uncertainty in even what the moving average is, because it depends on the exchange, right? This is Bitstamp. If you go to a different exchange, the 20-week moving average would actually be slightly different. Like let's look at a different exchange. Let's look at Coinbase. So Bitstamp is 98.15, Coinbase is 98.16. So there are going to be some differences, and those are actually closer than a lot of times you would see. But there are some differences between which exchange you're using, right? It's not an exact science, of course. It's an exact science for that exchange, but when you have to conglomerate all the exchanges, of course, there's going to be a difference. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Tristan says, are you converting any Ethereum to Bitcoin? I converted Ethereum to Bitcoin back when the ratio was, I had set a stop loss at 0.0385. This is according just to the risk metric for the premium list. So yeah, I did convert a small percentage, about 1/10 of my Ethereum position to Bitcoin, 0.0385. So it is going down though. The Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is bleeding right now. And of course it makes sense, right? If Bitcoin's going down, as we said, like if Bitcoin kicks the bucket, right, and drops 20%, then Ethereum is going to bleed too, and the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is going to drop like a rock in that situation. And that's what's happening, right? This is exactly what's happening. Bitcoin's dropping, and it's dropping quickly. Therefore, as we said, the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is going to drop as well. So not only would Ethereum drop, but Ethereum Bitcoin would drop. So the whole premise, right, is the way that this move keeps happening is if Bitcoin stays slightly bullish, but not overly bullish and not overly bearish. The minute Bitcoin starts moving down quickly, this is when the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio will bleed, right? And this is why you want to set a stop loss once it gets to that risk level, right? So you're able to take some of those profits back into Bitcoin or back into USD even in that situation. But yeah, it looks like so far we had a successful test of it. We'll see if it continues to hold. And again, I wanna remind people, right? I mean, it's about how you react, right? It's not about exactly what it does. It's not all doom and gloom if it comes down here, right? I mean, the people that stood to gain the most up here, right, profit taking up here, were the ones that bought down here. So if you find yourself time and time again not taking profits when things go up, I mean, it depends on the coin, right? I mean, I actually haven't taken any Bitcoin profits yet because the risk level didn't reach the level that I'm looking at to take profits. But, it goes more so for, I guess, a lot of the altcoins were the ones that really went parabolic, right? Bitcoin hasn't really gone parabolic yet. I mean, you look at coins like Link, even slightly looking at Ethereum. Ethereum was starting to go parabolic as well. These are the coins that are really good to take profits and then to take those profits back to USD or back to Bitcoin. Okay, this is my goal anyways. And the reason, right, is Bitcoin's down 4%, and it might go down lower, but Ethereum and other coins, Link, they're going to be down a lot more. So this is the point, right, of switching it to Bitcoin if you don't want to switch it to USD. We'll see if we test it again here. We're getting close. It's currently about $150 away. Guys, I don't know. I mean, you guys are asking. I don't know if the 20 week's gonna hold or not. I kind of react. I just already set the trades to happen. Like I already have things ready to go in the event that we see weekly closes below. For now, I mean, it's just kind of, for me, it's just kind of wait and see what happens because I already took the profits from the altcoins that I wanted to take when they were in bubble mode. I'm not selling Bitcoin when it's down 20%, right? This is generally, I mean, yeah, it could go down further, but generally speaking, if you're selling, you want to sell into strength, right? You want to sell, when you're seeing coins like Ethereum go to 475, you set your stop loss, right, at like 440, which is what we did, right, on the premium list, or based on the Bitcoin ratio. And then you go from there. You don't wait for it to crash and then capitulate, right? This is not my focus anyways, of course. Jordan says, if you were starting a new position, would you start your DCA here or wait for a test? I mean, I think trying to time the market exactly to the day is really difficult. I mean, DCA tends to be your friend though. So I would just say DCA. I think that buying alts would be a very bad idea at the present time. Like I think that, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad idea. It just means it's very risky to do so right now. So again, I mean, like, if you do want to buy alts, it could work out well for you. Of course, it could work out well for you. But the risk associated with buying alts, in my opinion, at this time, is not worth it. It's not worth it because I think that it would be much better to get a little bit more clarity on whether Bitcoin will hold the 20-week. Like if we see a week or two go by and it's holding, then you start to think, okay, well maybe I do want to take on some of these altcoins. When we're testing the 20-week, it's super risky to dive, neck first or head first into altcoins, right? And this is why I've always said that Bitcoin it has been, and it always will be the largest position in my crypto portfolio, because I mean, days like this, right? And this is why I use altcoins as a way to increase, my Bitcoin and Ethereum positions for the most part, right? I will hold some Chainlink for the entire run, but as I said before, I sold 2/3 of my Chainlink on the way up, and I sold 4/15 of it at 1850. And this was up to the 0.8 to 0.9 risk band for Chainlink. So it's just all sticking to the math here. We'll see if we get another test of it. I would like to see. I mean, personally, I would like to see it come down again and test it. I feel like there's a much better chance that we come back down and test it again before just heading back upwards. So far, we had one test of it, right? We had one test of the 20-week moving average. I guess we can let's pull up a few more charts here, because I actually don't have the Ethereum chart up, which I probably should pull it up. So I'll pull up the Ethereum chart, keep an eye on that. And actually, let me delete some of these lines. We'll switch over to the monthly time frame for a minute. Okay, there's the 20-month. Right, this is that level that took us a long time to break, right? The Ethereum Bitcoin ratio took us a long time to break that 20-month. We had those wicks up to it, remember? And this was where we had held support a couple times as well. We're still a decent ways from that. I mean, that's down at 0.025, so we would have to drop. We would have to drop another, 20% to get to that point, to get back to the 20-month moving average. Switching back to the weekly time frame. Yeah, here's the weekly time frame. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. So again, I mean, things could recover quickly if it holds the 20-week. It's just a matter of if it'll hold or not. And it looks like we're getting close again. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Harry Chapman says, "Do you not hold ADA for the full run?" So I already sold some of my ADA back a month or two ago when it was on that major run. If Bitcoin's going below the 20-week and closing below it, I would sell my ADA. To be completely honest, like I'm not gonna lie, like I would sell it, in the hopes of getting back in at a lower price. I don't know how low Link is going to go, but I can tell you for me, the lower it goes, the better, because I sold most of my Link. So I'm going to be looking to pick up some Link again here, because Link is down significantly, and since I sold a lot at 1850, I could go ahead and get back in now for about 2x the same, basically get back 2x the amount of Link. Depending on if you sold to USD, if you sold to Bitcoin, it wouldn't be quite the same. But again, I mean, Link is down much more than Bitcoin is. So Link, I would like to see it. It is getting closer. I mean, I must say it is getting closer to the levels where I would start to buy back in. But even now, it is still somewhat risky, I think. But again, these people, the people that when you're following things like Chainlink, right, and you see it do something like this, right, and we identified this bubble as it happened in the premium list. When you see it do this kind of thing, there's tons of people up here, right? Tons of people buying up here, wishing that they had bought down here, right? Just wishing that they had done it. But remember, the people that were buying down here did it when there was a lot of fear in the market, right? I mean, the people that gained the most were not the people that were buying it up here and speculating once the market got going. It was the people that bought it down here at $1 to $2, right? I mean, you can see we had wicks all the way down to about $1 or so for Link. So remember, it's all about perspective, right? It looks, in hindsight, it looks nice. Yeah, let's just buy Link over here. The people that were doing so were mostly doing it even when there was fear in the market. And again, we're developing a healthy level of fear in the market right now, and this is why I said all along with Link, especially on the premium list, right, and even on a lot of public live streams, that I took profits, because we don't know where the top is, and we could just as easily as we went up, we could come back down, right? And we talked about this a lot, right? Looking at the kind of like our trap here, the first trap, and then the parabolic move, come back down, dead cat bounce, and then back down, just like a textbook speculative bubble. By the way, for those who follow the stock market, we do have a risk metric on the stock market that we have on the premium list as well, and it hit the 0.8 risk band, which is where I told everyone that I was selling 10% of all of my equities, which, by the way, is a lot, right? I mean, 10% of my equities, because I hold a lot more equities in crypto. Selling 10% is a ton, but I stuck to the math. It hit 0.8. The risk level hit 0.8, and then it went up slightly more, and then it came back down. So again, it's just looking at past volatility and recognizing when we're nearing the top. Let's see if we get another test here. We're close. We're pretty close again. We're only a couple $100 away. Yeah, I can't really tell you guys about Polkadot. I've no insight into Dot. There's just not enough information to really make a reasonable guess as to what's going to happen with Polkadot. So I'm not even going to try. I don't know if the CME gap's going to get filled, guys. I really don't know. Yeah, if it closes below the 20-week, I would sell a lot of crypto. If it closes below the 20-week, I would either be going into Bitcoin and or stable coins, depending on each position. Yeah, Dot is one of those ones that I just kind of buy it and stake it and forget about it for the cycle. I've no idea what it's going to do. Joel says, can you look at Litecoin? What have we said all along about Litecoin and XRP? What have we said all along? I mean, you guys know the story. Coins like Litecoin and XRP are not coins that are good to hold, traditionally speaking, before Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high. And the reason is because anytime they move, the time that they move is when Bitcoin moves, generally speaking. And then when Bitcoin moves down, they completely wipe away basically every gain that they saw. So again, the opportunity costs for things like Litecoin and XRP are just way too high. And it's why I've said all along I do not hold Litecoin and XRP. Not at the current time, because it does not seem like a smart decision to do. Including them in your portfolio is, until we get to the prior all-time high, is just too big of a risk, right? There's too much of an opportunity cost to holding them. Yeah, Bernoulli said it. Litecoin, Bitcoin will bleed until Bitcoin hits 20K. I agree. I mean, this is what we've said on the channel all along. It will likely bleed until Bitcoin hits 20K, and a sustainable 20K. And you might want to front run it, right? If you think it's going to hold the 20K, maybe you just go ahead and buy some ahead of time in anticipation of it. But keep this in mind. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up too. And I do have a level, as I've mentioned, there is a level that I would start buying Link again. It's not there yet though. It is on the premium list though. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to see while we're waiting and just kind of seeing if the 20-week holds. We're not going to talk about leverage trading on the channel. I don't want to get into that. If you feel confident in your ability to leverage trade, then that's your own deal. And I'm it's just I don't want people to go leverage trade because they think something I said. Like I'd rather just not talk about not promote leverage trading. The weekly candle isn't going to close till tomorrow, so we still have a while. If we break the 20-week, where will we go? Well, I imagine the 50-week is all the way down here at 8,700, and remember we did spend a lot of time there, right? We did spend a lot of time in that region, so I think I think that 8,700 is as good a place as any to potentially anticipate if we were to break the 20-week, right, and continue south. If we break that, it's probably to the 200-week, right, which is at this is the 100-week, which is at 7,600. And remember, the first time in this cycle that we broke the 20-week, we came straight down to the 100-week moving average. Okay, straight down to the 100-week. The second time we failed to hold it, we came straight down to the 300-week. Really, the candle was at the 200-week, but we broke it here and we came straight down to the 200-week. So, generally speaking, I would say breaking the 20-week on the weekly time frame means that we're gonna head south, right? We're gonna head south. And again, the regression band shows the bottom of our fair value, anyways, being the fair value regression band here is at around 6,300, which corresponds basically to the 200-week moving average. So the 200-week moving average is 6,579, and the lower part of the regression band is around 6,300. Oh, we're close. We're $100 away from testing it again. And again, remember, a wick below doesn't mean anything. We can come down as long as we hold it on the weekly time frame. I think it's okay. If we don't hold it on the weekly time frame, then yeah, all bets are off in terms of where it could be headed. Again, I would like to see Link continue to come down here. Whew. We're close. You guys think we'll hold it on the weekly time frame? Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Also, make sure you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. See a lot of people saying they think we'll hold it. Some people say we're heading down to 9,600. $9,600, by the way, if we were to draw it on here, would be here. So that's 9,600. Yeah, and you could argue. I mean, I know we spent a lot of time, right, in the lower 9,000s, right? We did spend a lot of time in the lower 9,000s, which is, you know, right around maybe like this region. So we did spend a lot of time in there, especially in this last move. We spent a lot of weeks in that area, the low 9,000s. That wick came straight down to it, though. We'll see if it continues to hold. All right, Rico, I can oblige your cry to be hidden on the channel. Someone said this move looks more aggressive than what they saw in 2017. I don't know what you're talking about, man, but I mean, in 2017, it was pretty bad. I mean, this weekly candle here was a 40% dump in 1 week, okay? And we had a lot of those. You know, we had a lot of these big candle dumps. And over the macro scale, I mean, over several months, it dumped 70% down to the bottom of the wick. 2017 was definitely a different animal than what we're looking at right now. These candles are, I mean, we have a ton of them, right? If you just look at these other candles, we have a lot of candles that look like this, right? Here's one, here's one, here's one, right? Here's another one that's even larger, and then here's this one, right? These candles are pretty common with Bitcoin, to see a weekly candle move by 20%, right? This is a 20% drop. If I draw it to the top, right? If I draw it to the top here, it's a 20% drop to the top of the wick. 20%. We've seen this many times. Guys, you know, one of the nice things, right, about following it in terms of more of like a reactionary approach, in my opinion, right, is that you just don't worry that much about what Bitcoin does. You react. If it goes up parabolic, you just take profits, right? And then if it goes down, you just DCA back into the market. And this is why I say all the time, you don't want to be the ones buying altcoins and stuff when they're up 10 or 20x already. You want to be the people selling to the dumb money, right? The dumb money enters up here, and we said this when it happened. That was the dumb money entering. You don't want to be this schmuck coming into the market when it's already up so much. You want to be the one that's getting in when the market is way down here. So for things like Link, it's already becoming more attractive, right? If it continues to go down, I can tell you, as I said, I sold 2/3 of my Link position, and you can rest assured I'm looking for an opportunity to get that Link and more back, because I don't worry about these daily moves here. I sell at the risk level, and then when it comes down, right, whatever it comes down to, I don't know, I would just buy back in. The bulls are still putting up a fight so far at the 20-week. Really just north of the 20-week, about $100 up above the 20-week. Man, we're close. We're $100 away. Again, the wicks don't matter, so I'm not trying to over dramatize it more than it really is. Like, I mean, there's a chance the price goes down, there's a wick down, but that we ultimately close above it, right? And things I think would still be theoretically okay. The question is, are we going to close below the 20-week tomorrow? This is the major question, in my opinion, right? Because if you're new, remember, if we have these weekly closes below, this is when we tend to drop like a rock, right? This is when things get bad really quickly, in terms of the price. So look to hold it, because as we mentioned in the past, even in a bull market, right? Even in a bull market, let's assume we can't assume that we're in a bull market yet. But if you look at the last cycle, remember we had several of these 20% drops to the 20-week moving average, even in the bull market. I'm not saying we're going to hold it. We haven't even had a single successful test of it, right? This is our first test, so I don't know yet if it's going to hold. But even in a bull market, you have 20, 30, 40% drops to the 20-week moving average, right? So when you zoom out, it looks like it's all fun and games, right? It looks like it just goes up. But there were a lot of significant drops in there. The thing is we just haven't confirmed yet if we're going to hold the 20-week this cycle yet. And for me, you know, until we hold it, this is what I've said. Until we hold it, the bull market has not officially started, right? Because you could have said the same thing about 2019, right? A lot of people thought that the bull market had started here, but then we ended up coming all the way back down to 3,800. And in past bull markets, you know, you don't really, you know, dropping that much. So dropping from 1,400 down to 38, I mean, that's a 70% drop. That's not, most bull markets are not going to see 70% drops, right? The last bull market, the largest drop it saw was approximately 40%. And then the time it drops more than 40% was up here when it dropped 50% just to get to the 20-week, broke it, and actually fell all the way down 70%. So when you see a 70% drop, it means there's a shift in the market, right? There's a shift. 20, 30, 40% drops, it could theoretically be a bull market. We just don't know yet until we test the 20-week, right? And this is our first major test, right? I would say that this is our first major test of the bull market, which we knew was coming. We knew this was coming at some point, and now we're testing it, right? We're testing it now, September of 2020. We're testing the 20-week for a third time. So we tested it in September of 2019, a year ago, basically exactly a year ago, September 23rd, we failed to hold it, of 2019. And then in March of 2020, we failed to hold it. Now we're looking at September 2020. And every time we failed to hold it, I always say we're basically kicking the can down the road another 6 to 12 months. If we come down, if we break it and come down, we're likely looking at least another 6 months or so before we could then go back above it and then retest it, in my opinion. I think it's going to be another 6 months. This is why I always say we're kicking the can down the road, so to speak, if we're unable to hold it. Alright, I just gotta look at the chat here. Looks like people are getting out of hand a little bit. Looks like we're still holding it so far. So yeah, I imagine on the I see people talking about Bitcoin versus the euro has already broken through. I mean, this makes sense, right? Because it was already at the 20-week. Yeah, so it looks like, and this is partially because of the devaluation of the dollar. So the Bitcoin euro, the 20-week, is at around 86.28, and it's already down to 84.19. So it's already forming at the very least a wick below its 20-week moving average. Because again, even with the euro, we saw the 20-week hold as support, but again, we did have several wicks below it, even in the last bull market. You can see a lot of wicks below it, and those wicks sometimes, were upwards of, well, if I take it from the 20-week, 10% below the 20-week. So, as we said, though, most people watch USD, but it is important, I think, to look at the euro valuation, because a lot of people do buy Bitcoin and they think about it in terms of the euro. And in the same manner, when we had weekly closes against the euro that were below the 20-week, it tended to go down, right? So here's a this was the first candle, and then over the macro scale, it still went down. Here was a candle that closed, and then we immediately went down. And then it looks like we've just broken below it against the euro. So we'll see if that comes back up or not. Hopefully it does. But again, even if it doesn't, remember, this channel is not about looking at single day trades. It's looking about the macro scale, right? And recognizing that we're looking at lengthening cycles. I'm not going to say the name, but someone obviously tweeted something the other day about the 4-year cycle theories being true. It was a big name, so naturally everyone pings me saying, "Oh, so and so says 4-year cycle theory is true, therefore it must be right." It's not true, right? And we've said this many times. Like, the 4-year cycle theory is one of the biggest myths of cryptocurrency, right? It's one of the biggest myths of cryptocurrency that people lead others to believe that a single 4-year peak to peak or bottom to peak move is what signifies a recurring cycle. It's complete and utter nonsense that you think of it in terms of 4-year cycle. And since I have such a large audience now, I'll go ahead and show you what I mean. And it doesn't matter whether you measure it from peak to peak or bottom to bottom or bottom to peak. Let's start with bottom to bottom. Bottom to bottom. The first one was 476 days. The second one was, the second one was 1,162 days. The third one, 1,444 days. Okay, if we have another one, it's going to lengthen too. We're probably looking at somewhere in 2024 or even 2025, which is where the next bottom would be. All right, this is one way to measure it. Let's also measure it from let's measure it from top to top. Top to top, the first one, 924 days. Second one, 1,456 days. Third one, let's assume it's around 2,000 days. It's going to put us in the summer of 2023 probably. Let's also measure it bottom to top. The first one, 315 days. The second one, 756 days. The third one, 1,078 days. The fourth one, probably going to be longer. It's probably going to be 1,500, 1,600 days, putting us in the summer of 2023. It has not changed. This has been the narrative all along. Lengthening cycles are almost assuredly the name of the game. I understand that some of you are tired of hearing me talk about it, but I get pinged constantly about it because we talk about lengthening cycles. Therefore, anytime we get a major proponent of the 4-year cycle theory making another YouTube video or putting out a tweet saying that we're going to peak in 2021, naturally I just get bombarded with comments about the validity of the 4-year cycle. And if you guys have evidence of the 4-year cycle, I would love to see it, but I just don't see it. I don't think that the 4-year cycle theory is true, and I think the data suggests backs me up on that. So again, I just saw another mention of the 4-year cycle, so I wanted to go ahead and relay my comments on that yet again, because you can see, right, if we look at the macro scale, let me check the Yeah, see, people like Apple Pie, 3 data points has no statistical significance. So he says the point is fully moot. So this is what I hear from the people that say the Fourier cycle theory is true. They say that 3 data points, you can't make a trend from it. And I would tend to agree with you, but what they're doing is they're taking 1 data point and making a trend from it, right? They're taking 1 data point and making a trend from it. At least I'm taking 3, okay? This is my point. And you can see that we have these the parabolic moves. It goes through these cycles, right? A parabolic move, the bear market, the slower move to the prior all-time high, and then the parabolic move, right? The bear market, the slower move to the prior all-time high, and then the parabolic move, the bear market, the slower move to the prior all-time high, and then we go parabolic. Make sure you give the videos a thumbs up if you guys like the content, and please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm not saying that 3 data points isn't necessarily something that you take to the bank, right? There's still uncertainty with 3 data points. But if the data is suggesting, those 3 data points, if the data is suggesting that it's lengthening, why would you then assume it's not? Like, why would you assume that, okay, I'm going to look at these 3 data points and assume that the cycles are shortening or they're on a Fourier cycle? Like, why would you assume the opposite? Wouldn't it make more sense to assume that, at least with the limited data that you have, like to assume that it's telling the story? Why would you assume that it's telling the reverse, like the story in reverse or something? Like, this is what boggles my mind, that people talk about when you talk about, oh, you can't use 3 data points to identify a lengthening cycle. Well, I would like to know how you use 1 data point to back up a Fourier cycle. Yeah, this is 1% nailed it on the head, right? People want it to be a Fourier cycle because, well, there's 2 reasons, right? The 2 main reasons. First of all, investors want it to be a Fourier cycle so that they can make bank in 2021, right? And then you have the YouTubers and the people on crypto Twitter that talk about the Fourier cycle. Because why? Because that's what gets clicks, that's what gets likes, that's what gets upvotes, right? People want to hear that it's a Fourier cycle, and everything else gets glossed over, right? You see a tweet go out that says $1 million Bitcoin in 2021. It's going to get tons of publicity. You tell people it's not going to get to a sustainable 20K until the end of 2021 or 2022. Most people don't want to hear that, right? Just most people don't want to hear that. And I think a lot of people that watch my channel think that everyone thinks that lengthening cycle theory is true. I would urge you to spend some time on Reddit, because whenever I cross-post my stuff to Reddit, it mostly gets downvoted. Most people think it's complete garbage, right? Because they think that it has to be a Fourier cycle. So if you're looking at my channel, and my channel is the only one that you follow, which I don't imagine it would be, but if there are a few of you where it is the only channel you follow, you're somewhat living in a bubble by only looking at my channel, because the majority of crypto Twitter and crypto YouTube think that it's a Fourier cycle. So again, if you just follow my channel, you probably think that everyone thinks it's a lengthening cycle. This is not the case. Most people think that Bitcoin's going to 100K next year. This is what most people think. The people that follow my channel, it's probably skewed the other way, but it's just because that's what I talk about. But if you go to most channels, most of them will say Bitcoin's going to 100K in 2021. And again, I want you guys to watch out for this, because over the next 12 to 18 months, more and more of these influencers are going to topple like dominoes in terms of their Fourier cycle view, right? Because it's going to become evident that Fourier cycles are wrong, right? And once it becomes evident that it is, these people are going to have to then shift their focus, right? They're going to look for confirmation bias in terms of, okay, well, if Fourier cycle theory isn't true, let me find the next theory that could back up the fact that Bitcoin's still going to go to 100K. Oh, lengthening cycles. Okay, so now I can continue milking this thing for another 2 years. Now I just promote lengthening cycles until Bitcoin does go to 100K. This is what you'll likely see. So you'll likely see a lot of these people that make content shift their narrative from 4 years to lengthening. I think it's already started happening. It's going to continue to happen over the next 12 to 18 months. And then once we get to 2022, people are going to look back on crypto and wonder how they believed it was ever a 4-year cycle to begin with. Because nothing about the history suggests that it is. We're getting closer again to testing it. We're about $100 away. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get subscribe if you guys like the content. Trying to get to 40,000 subscribers this year. So please subscribe. Please give the video a thumbs up. Looks like the bulls are putting up a fight so far. Yeah, people suggesting a $220,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2021. It's just absurd. Yeah, and I understand that some people suggest lengthening cycles, but most of those people are only recently suggesting it once it's becoming clearer that it's not true. Guys, I see a lot of people talking about the CME gap. I've said many times, I do not think it's relevant at all. Like, I don't think it has to fill. I understand the markets are closed, so you can't, if you're saying you can't technically fill it, I don't think that it needs to be filled in the first place. So, and this is what I've said, if it is going to get filled, it needs to go down to $9,600 or so. But I don't think it has to be filled. Let's see, we're only $100 away again. It's definitely flirting with that level. We'll see if we at least have a wick below it. I mean, we could easily have a wick below it at the very least. We won't know if the candle closes below it until tomorrow, though. Yeah, someone says, will Ethereum bleed if the 20 MA does not hold? If the 20-week does not hold, Ethereum will likely bleed against USD and Bitcoin. Yeah, someone said, can't the CME gap conspiracy be explained through viewing short-term price as a random walk? Yeah, we've said this before, right? Short-term price movements in Bitcoin are a random walk. You can attribute it more to, geometric Brownian motion than something that you can really predict. So this is what ultimately fills a lot of gaps, and some gaps never get filled because they just don't reach that point, right? This is my opinion, of course. What do you guys think? You think we'll hold it? You think we're going to hold the 20-week? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, even if we go down to 6K, we're still on track. Like, we're still in our fair value regression band, right? Whatever happens in the meantime, right? This is just noise. I still think we're on track. Given all the people in the chat saying it's not going to hold, it makes me think it is going to hold. Someone said, what's the second? So this one here is the 50-week. Let me change it to a different color. So, for some reason it's not letting me do it. Maybe TradingView is getting overloaded or something. Someone says, do I have a price prediction for the end of the year? Well, again, I'm not clairvoyant, but if I had to guess, and again, I'm not going to give you a specific number because it's completely irrelevant to say exactly what it would be because no one can really guess that. But more or less speaking, you know, if this keeps, I mean, the regression band is going to keep going up. I would, if I had to guess for the end of, like, for say the end of 2020, I would say it's probably going to be somewhere. And again, I'm going to give you a very wide range, and you're probably not going to like that, but I don't really care. It's probably going to be somewhere between 6K as kind of a lower bound, which is where the lower part of the regression line is and where the 200-week moving average is. So somewhere between 6K as a low to likely maybe around, I would say as high as, I mean, it depends on if it goes into a short-term bubble, but let's assume that it doesn't. Let's just assume it's between the regression band. So I would say somewhere between 6K and maybe 14K. I know that's a large range, but you know, I don't think it's going to go to a sustainable 20K for another 18 months, right? I don't think it's going to go to a sustainable 20K for another 18 months. David's wallet says, and I'm not going to assume you're patronizing. I'll assume you actually, it is a legitimate question. He says, Ben, what data are you using to say it's ridiculous that Bitcoin could reach 250K in late 2021? From September 2016 to December 2017, Bitcoin went up 31x. In 2016, you'd have said 20K Bitcoin in 15 months is ridiculous. That is not true. Let me see if here's what I want to show you. So this is what I made a video on this the other day. This is the total crypto market cap. And let me go back a few slides. So this is I'll give you my answer, right? This, and sorry about the white background up here. This is the total cryptocurrency market cap since 2010. Okay, and you look at it and you see that we have our fair value logarithmic regression fit, the red line, okay? In addition to the red line, we have a lower bound, which is the green line, which means that we're approximately 50 to 60% undervalued, so down here. And we hit it over here, we came close to it over here. In addition to the green line being the undervaluation kind of minimum, we have the overvaluation. And if we're above this dashed green line, it means that we're basically at the end of the speculative bubble. So into the speculative bubble here, into the bubble here, and then into the bubble here. Now, if you take, and again, this is the total crypto market cap. And by the way, this was based on August 31st. So it's a few days old, right? But the fair market value of all of cryptocurrency on August 31st, according to this regression fit, was 411 billion, and our market cap was 377 billion. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each data point and divide it by the regression band. Okay, we're going to take each data point and divide it by the regression band, and then when we do that, this is what you get. So this is what you get. So you get, and this is, note that this is, goes from 40% up to 2,000%. Anything below 100% means it's undervalued, okay? Anything below 100% means it's undervalued. Anything above 100% means that we are above our red regression line. So if you look at, if generally you look at these moves, you might say you would have suggested that such a move for Bitcoin was preposterous, right? During that time frame, but I don't think so, and I think that if you look at where this is headed, I ultimately think we'll probably peak somewhere over here in 2023 at approximately, maybe a 600 to 800% overvaluation, right? And if you extend that out, maybe looking something like that means it would be overvalued by approximately 600 to 700%. And you can actually see that we came directly up to the fair value trend, the fair value point, and it looks like we kind of held resistance at least for the time being, and are heading back down. So if you look at this green band here, this is generally when the market is undervalued. So despite all the bullish momentum recently, the market is still technically undervalued using this metric. And the reason is because things were just so far down. I mean, things got really hammered, right, from 2017, 2018, 2019, things just got really hammered during that time period. So you can see that we did come back up. We hit that low, right? We've gone to about 40% undervaluation several times. It tends to be among the lowest point in the market cycle. We hit it here. Note that the move that we had in March of this move here back in December of 2018 was higher, like it was lower than where we currently were, but where we currently were back in March was undervalued more. And the reason is because the regression band monotonically increases. So because the band monotonically increases, the fair market value of all of cryptocurrency has to increase as well at the same rate, just for it to stay the same, say the same valuation. So that's why, despite the fact that the market cap here was higher than it was back in the end of 2018, it was still the undervaluation was more in 2020 than it was back in 2018. And the reason is because the fair value monotonically went up. So you might say that, I don't think that it can't. So you say it won't go to 288 just because it had that volatility last time. Well, you can see that in terms of macro level volatility, we are decreasing. So in terms of our fair value regression line. So I don't think it's fair to say it's just like I'm just saying it randomly. It is actually based on the fact that each bottom to peak move, the ROI is less, measured on a daily time frame. So the ROI has been diminishing each cycle, and the cycles are lengthening. So I hope I answered that question. Still about $100 away from the 20-week moving average. Let me know if you guys like the content. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow the channel a bit more so that more people can look at it from a more data science perspective rather than a hype perspective. Again, I don't make you guys watch any advertisements on this channel apart from just advertising my own premium list. So if you are interested in following the premium content, make sure you check out my website at intothecryptoverse.com. You'll get access to an alerts channel, which will tell you kind of what I'm doing. It included taking profits on Link all the way up. I sold 2/3 of my position on the way up, 4/15 of which was at 1850. We also took profits on Ethereum. It wasn't as much, right, because it didn't bubble as hard. But we have the alerts channel, we have the private chat room, we have the weekly report, the weekly premium video, the risk dashboard, right, which is what I use to trade, and then the strategies dashboard. So make sure you sign up. If you sign up for 6 to 12 months, you can get a discount. And the prices will be going up on September 28th. So if you want to get grandfathered in, make sure you sign up before that. And I will remind you, if you want to talk about the markets apart from the times that I'm just on YouTube, make sure you check out my my Telegram channel. So check that out. I put that in the comments as well, and we'll continue to see if Bitcoin is gonna stay above the 20-week for the time being. We're still holding strong so far. It's at 9,900. We're about $100 away, but we'll see if it continues to hold here. Link looks like it's recovering a little bit in the short term at least. But yeah, I mean, again, Bitcoin, if you see the weekly candle going, closing below the 20-week moving average, I would expect a lot of alts to bleed pretty heavily. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 likes. I've only gotten to 1,000 likes on a live stream one time in my entire life. So it'd be nice to get to 1,000 likes again. And make sure you subscribe. Jason, we do have a lifetime membership. Once you join, you'll see the option. It's only available to people that are already signed up, and obviously you'll get it prorated if you want to apply your current subscription to it. Michael says, in the last 2 years, every time Bitcoin has tested the 20 weekly, it has broken right through it. What makes you think this year would be any different? I don't necessarily think it would be any different yet. I don't know if it will hold it. We've also basically been in a bear market accumulation phase, I would say, for the last 2 years. We have not been in a bull market, a multi-year bull market, these are the multi-year bull markets that we have, which see 20% corrections to the 20-week, even sometimes 40% corrections to the 20-week. You could have said the same thing back in, let's look at the BLX because it goes back further. You could have said the same thing over here, right? Saying that back, here we failed to hold the 20-week right here, and right here. And then there was a first time where we held it again, and then once we held it, we started holding it all the way up. So I'm not saying it's gonna hold, you misunderstand me. I'm saying that if it holds, which is a big if, but if it holds, this sentiment can change very quickly, right? If it holds and we look back on it and say that this was just kind of like a shakeout candle, and then we ultimately hold it, right, and then continue back up, then people would look back on this and kind of smile, right, and say, oh yeah, remember that time it dumped 20%, and then we held it as support, and this was the first test of the bull market. I just don't know if that's the case yet, right? I don't know. I'm more reactionary, right? I just react to what happens using more data science as opposed to saying, oh, it's definitely going to hold or it's definitely not, because I really don't know. The bull market, if it doesn't hold, the bull market's probably delayed by at least 6 months. Is the truth, right? I mean, this is the truth. If it doesn't hold, we're essentially kicking the can down the road for at least I would say half a year, which is the same exact thing I said the last time. Back in March, I said if it doesn't hold, we're kicking the can down the road half a year at the very least. And here we are, exactly 6 months later, testing it again. So if it doesn't hold on the weekly and we come back down, I would say it's probably going to take another 6 months before we, as we move back down, as we then move back up, and then hold it as support again. So, and even from the last 2 times, failing to hold it as support here, this was also about 6 months. So from here to here, and then from here to the current time. So it's always they tend to be about 6 months apart, at least in this cycle. But hopefully there's still a chance that we hold it, right? Yeah, You guys are like, oh man, 6 months. Like, I don't want to hear that. But would I tell you if I thought it was only 6 months? If I thought it was 6 months, like, would I tell you anything differently? No. If it drops below it on the weekly time frame, we're probably looking at 6 months before another confirmation. It doesn't mean we're going to have 6 months before it pumps again, right? I mean, what if it does something like this? Sorry, let me delete that. I mean, if it does something like this, where it drops back down to the 200 week, then it could start moving up again from there, just like it did last time. My point is from the time that we break it, if we break it, to then the next time we test it, would likely, and not test it on the way up, where we test it coming back down, would likely be, I would say, 6 to 12 months. Yeah, sorry. I don't think that head and shoulder patterns are really that useful. I know someone said to check it out, but I just don't think. I think there's so many times where you could argue that a head and shoulders pattern is forming, and then it doesn't actually continue that same pattern continuation, and then people just forget about it. They just highlight it when it does happen. The 200-week moving average, someone asked, it's currently at around $6,500 or so. So according to the BLX, the 200 week is at 65.79. The bottom of the regression band is at around 63.13. You can look at the 200-day. I mean, I sometimes look at the daily moving averages. I don't think they're as important as the weekly, though. I mean, the 20-day moving average is long gone. The 50-day is long gone. The 100-day is long gone. This one here, the 200-day, is the next obvious stop if we were to follow this pattern here, and it would be around $9,000 if we were to continue. But I don't think the daily moving averages are as important as the weekly moving averages. Someone said, will Bitcoin ever be over 10K again? Maybe we'll see it go to 10K in a couple minutes. I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, let me see. Yeah, we have spent more time under 10K than above it. This is obvious. We've only been above 10K for a very small portion of Bitcoin's history, and like if you go back on the BLX and you draw, and we zoom out here, so we get all the price action, and you draw a line, around 10K or so, right? This is around 10K. Most of its history is well below 10K. But again, I think the same narrative will play out again. Like, I feel like one day it'll be 100K, and then it'll be like, okay, well, when are we going to break 100K for the last time? Satoshi says, what happens to alts when Bitcoin breaks the all-time high? If Bitcoin breaks the all-time high and then sustains it, I think that altcoins would do quite well. Bernoulli says, haven't seen your Bitcoin risk chart in a while. Maybe I've missed it. Actually, I'm going to make it. Oh, look, we're back above 10K. So someone asked if we're ever going to get back above 10K. Here we are. You guys, I'm going to make a video on this. I actually just made a video to talk about the risk levels for Bitcoin. So since we're, I actually don't have it up right now. Let me see if it's one of the slides I have here. Yeah, here it is. That's not it, actually. These are thumbnails. Let me see if I have it up on a different one. Okay. All right, I'm gonna make a standalone video on this, but I'll give you guys a sneak peek since you're on the live stream. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this. Okay. So this, if you're unfamiliar, and we're gonna do a video on it. I do a video on the risk levels every 1 to 2 months on the public channel. So this here are the risk levels for Bitcoin, and I've made this risk metric, and it's based on historical volatility and the price and then time. So the way it works is, the primary y-axis is the price of Bitcoin, and time is the x-axis, and then the color-coded dimension is the risk level, right? So this is the risk level of Bitcoin. So when it's blue, it means that we're in a historically good time to buy Bitcoin, right? So this is a good time to buy. When it's red, it's historically a good time to sell. And the idea is you're buying in these regions, right, and selling in these regions, and it's not really more complicated than that. Now, what you do, right, is you can even see this drop back in March. It gave us a chance to buy back in that point, near that 0.1. It was in the 0.1 to 0.2 regression band. So that single data point, that capitulation in March. So when you think of when you see things like Bitcoin dumping, right, I would think of it as an opportunity. If we continue on, let's look at the next slide. So this shows the risk level of Bitcoin, but on the secondary y-axis. So instead of showing it on the primary as a color-coded risk dimension, it's the secondary y-axis is the risk level. So the general idea, right, if you're following the moderate risk level approach, you're doing something like this, right, where you're buying when the risk level is below 0.5, and you're selling when it's above 0.5. And actually, for Bitcoin, it did not come into the 0.5 risk regime. It did for Ethereum. It did for Chainlink. There's a lot of other coins that did go parabolic, and you would have wanted to take profits on. So for Ethereum was a good example. Chainlink was a perfect example. I mean, the risk level shot through the roof. And then the people on the premium list, right, I was telling you, okay, guys, these are the profits I'm taking. This is where I'm setting the stop loss according to this risk level. So this is the idea for Bitcoin. So when it's down here, you're buying. When it's up here, you're generally selling. Not financial advice. This is what I do. And then if we continue on, you can see, well, maybe you want to be a little bit more conservative. Maybe you only buy at these risk levels and then sell at these. Maybe you want to be more risky, so you buy up to the 0.6 risk level and then you sell at the higher ones. You could do things like this, where you buy below 0.4 and then you sell at 0.6 or above, so that you're not really doing anything in this risk regime. Maybe this would be good for accounting for like long-term capital gains, as opposed to selling too quickly and having to pay short-term capital gains. You also maybe want to be less risky, do something like this. Maybe you want to be the YOLO approach, right, where you just try to time the top. The downside to trying to time the top is, well, what happens if you think it's going to go higher than it actually does? Then you completely miss out. So this is the downside. And then the idea, right, is dynamic DCA, right? So you're buying more as the risk goes down, and then you're selling a little bit if the risk is between this level and this level, and then the more it goes up, you sell more and more. So for instance, if you had, say, let's say you had 10 Bitcoin, and you wanted to follow this approach, you basically figure out, you say y plus 2y plus 3y plus 4y plus 5y equals the total number of Bitcoin. 15y equals total Bitcoin, therefore y equals the total number of Bitcoin divided by 15. So if you had 10 Bitcoin, then the idea, right, is that you would sell 2/3 of a Bitcoin at this level, 4/3 at this level, 2 Bitcoin here, 8/3 of a Bitcoin here, and then 10/3 there. And then this, if you're not good with fractions, this is 0.67 Bitcoin, 1.33 Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoin, 2.67, 3.33. So you sell a small amount when it gets to this level. So back in 2019, it would have been selling a little bit here, a little bit more here. And then when it comes back down, then you just DCA back into the market. So this is the general idea behind the risk level. I'll make a full dedicated video on this in a bit, but I just wanted to show it since someone asked. And you can kind of see the cycles play out there as I've kind of highlighted. And then if you plot the price versus the risk, you can also see the cycles play out. Like, the risk goes up as the price goes up, the risk goes down, and we just continue to repeat this cycle. But the thing is the price keeps going up, so the risk levels are dynamic and they adjust over time. If you want access to the risk levels, make sure you check out the premium list again at intothecryptoverse.com, and that's where I talk about the risk levels, and you'll have access to the risk levels on the risk dashboard. So you'll get access to them, and then you can use them to inform your decisions, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. And we'll see. It looks like Bitcoin is still above 10K. Again, it doesn't matter if we fall below it. I would say it's just an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity. I would not get scared. We recognize that the cycles are likely lengthening here, and it's going to take us another 16 months at the very least to get to a sustainable $20,000 per Bitcoin. So I don't think we're going to be getting there anytime soon by any means. So even now, it still is essentially business as usual. Someone says, assuming you assume Bitcoin is going to be 100K, why is the majority percentage of your portfolio in equities? It's just risk management, right? If Bitcoin drops 70%, you don't need your net worth dropping by 70%. It's just risk management. So it looks like we came down and tested the 20-week 2 separate times now, at least on maybe looking at like a minute time frame. So far it has held twice. We'll see if it continues to hold. Obviously we're looking for the weekly candle to close above it. Can we get to 1,000 likes? We're at 836. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Try to help me get to 40,000 subscribers. We're continuing to follow here. It looks like we're above, for now, we're above the 20 week. Sorry, that's my 4-year-old. I think he just checked his portfolio, and he was frustrated about what he was seeing. Either that, or he heard me mention XRP earlier and was upset about that. Yeah, I have 2 kids. One's 4, one's 1, and a third one due next month, actually. Someone says, can you expand on your XRP hate? You know, I always show the same thing every video, but I recognize that people don't watch every stream. If you look at coins like XRP, it's not like you know, if you just look at the macro scale, right? It doesn't tend to move until Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high, right? And even the last time the Bitcoin got back above its 20-week for the first time in 2015, and then Ethereum started pumping in 2016. XRP pumped a little bit against Bitcoin at the same time, but ultimately it still continued the macro level downtrend. So we said that XRP will likely trend up with the market. It also saw a 40% move against Bitcoin, but as I said before, it's still likely going to trend down until Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high. So this is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for it to continue to bleed against Bitcoin until Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high. I don't anticipate Bitcoin getting to its prior all-time high to a sustainable 20K, again, as I said, for another 18 months at the very least. I'm looking at the end of 2021, early 2022 at the earliest. So that would be, I would say that would be closer to the time where XRP might pump against Bitcoin. So maybe a continued drop against Bitcoin, and maybe then it moves up. And the same analysis goes for Litecoin too, by the way. So if you look at Litecoin, so let's take a look at Litecoin, because I know some of you guys have secret bets of Litecoin you don't like to talk about. Same thing goes for Litecoin, right? It pumped hard in 2017, right? And macro speaking, it still went down for the most part from the prior all-time high, and then it pumped, right? So what I'm looking for is it to continue to go down and then pump again. And I imagine that every single time it's going to get lower and lower, because I think it'll likely lose value against Bitcoin over the long haul. I know people probably don't want to hear that, especially if you own Litecoin, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not really something that I think is. Yes, diversification is good, but I think there's, you know, for every dollar you have in Litecoin, that's a dollar you don't have in Ethereum or Chainlink or other coins that I think are probably going to yield you better ROIs. If Bitcoin goes to 100K, yeah, I could see Litecoin going to $1,000, but, you know, what would have Ethereum done? What would Chainlink have done? What might Cardano have done? What might, you know, other coins have done during that same time? Therefore, the potential ROI on things like Litecoin, they just don't seem that attractive to me, considering I feel like there are better options. Can we get 25 more likes? We are 25 likes away from 1,000 likes. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Help me get to 40,000 subscribers this year. Still have a ways to go. We're not going to get there this month by any means, but help me get to 40,000 subscribers, please. Hey, look, the second time ever I've gotten more than 1,000 likes on a live stream. Thanks for liking. DJ Narwo says, hey Ben, appreciate what you do. Been interested in signing up for the premium list. If I sign up today and the report is already sent, do I still get that on the previous reports? Yes, you get all previous reports and previous videos. So if you're tired of looking at the market today, you'll get access to like 15 premium videos, like similar number of reports. You'll have a lot of material thrown at you. And also there's a private Telegram chat room if you want to join. I'm from the United States. I really don't know what the problem. I mean, the thing is like I don't know how to extrapolate this. It's not something you can easily extrapolate, right? If you look at the prior cycles, you know, one of the things we've noted, right, with the 20-week moving average, is during the first cycle, once we held it as support, after we broke through it, we basically held it as support. So it only took one try, one break, and then we held it as support, right? And then you go to the next cycle, and it took 2 tries, right? So the first time it tried, it did not hold. The second time held. So the first time was 1, the second time was 2, and this is just natural volatility, right? So the third time, maybe it's 3. I don't know if it's a linear extrapolation, right? I mean, it could be 4. Maybe it doubles every time. I don't know. But the reason it's crossing it so much, right, is because there's a lot of volatility at these accumulation levels, which all goes back to lengthening cycle theory, right? We're going to have more of these tests each cycle because the cycles are lengthening, and natural volatility will make these moving averages, will make the price continue to cross these moving averages, right? So it's just natural volatility within each longer accumulation phase. Bitcoin is back below 10K again. Now it's back at 10K. Yeah, the price of the premium list is going up soon, and it is going up significantly, okay? So if you want to get grandfathered in at the lower price, make sure you sign up before then. It's going up on the 28th of September. Albert says taking notes, no XRP or Litecoin, yes to Link, ADA, any other recommendations? I've contended, right, since Polkadot came out that I think it's going to be a good one. I think for me it's one to hold for the cycle. Polkadot for me it's not one that I'm going to take too many profits on. I bought it at around 3. I sold a little bit at 6, so I missed the top. But that's fine. I sold 10%. I'm just going to hold it. I'm just going to hold it for the market cycle. There's not enough data to really have any idea what it can do. Therefore, I'm just going to hold it and stake it. Forget about it for 2 or 3 years, and then come back and see, and then look to take profits then. No, Polkadot's not on Uniswap. Someone said you shall not pass. Are you referring to the 20-week telling Bitcoin that it's not going to pass? We're only 1.5, about 1.5% away from it. Someone said, why are you not looking at the 30-minute chart? We don't really look at the 30-minute chart here. It doesn't, I feel like looking at shorter time frames isn't super helpful. Mainly because I think it's just a random walk, but I mean, we can pull it up. Let's go to the 30-minute chart as someone asked. So here it is. Whoops. Again, I don't think you can really predict this stuff. I think it's really a random walk, and that I can't I have no idea what's going to happen here. Someone says the Ethereum Bitcoin video didn't age well. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. It went up significantly, and on the premium list we were taking profits. I said I don't know where the top's going to be. I don't know how high it can go. What I did say is that once Bitcoin is basically as long as it stays above the 20-week, that Ethereum will continue to go up over the macro scale, and that's exactly what happened. So. To me, people that make those kind of comments are just emotional investors who probably put in too much and are just kind of upset about it. So yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and hide that person from the channel since they're just a troll. Ciao. And let's just take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin band here. I mean, this is the thing, right? You talk about these ratios and you look at these macro shifts in the market, right? Looking at this downtrend here, this uptrend, you have a single a couple weeks where it goes down, and then everyone's like, oh, it's all coming to an end. Like this is completely. This is irrational people talking, right? And these people, honestly, you don't even belong on the channel anyways, if this is how you think. I don't mind dissent. It's not that I don't mind dissent. I don't care if people disagree. It's just that if you say things like a video that I published when the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio was here didn't age well when it came down a few percentage points, and it still has been generally trending up. This is just complete nonsense. As we've said many times, prices do not go up monotonically. They go up and they come down. They go up and they come down, and they go up and they come down. Like this is how things go. And as long as Bitcoin stayed bullish, slightly bullish, and not dropping, the ratio would have continued going up. It's just that with Bitcoin dropping, the ratio is going to drop with it. Not only would Ethereum drop, but the ratio would drop in the short term. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys, if you guys like the content. Yeah, I probably shouldn't let the trolls get under my skin. It's something that I've gotten better at as time goes on, but I mean, in the world I live in, people just don't act like high schoolers, right? You don't act like a kid. But on crypto YouTube, there's a lot of kids, and that's just the way it goes, right? The trolls will be trolls. Someone said stock to flow model comments. We've said this before, guys, right? I mean, I think the stock to flow model is more of a marketing thing than anything that should be taken too seriously. That's my opinion. I think it's done a great job in terms of attracting people to the space because of the marketing ability of it, right? But in terms of using it to identify 2021 $100,000 Bitcoin, I just think it's absurd, and I don't think it's going to hold its weight, and I think that'll be evident next year. No, stock to flow is not the Bible. I would argue that the stock to flow model is the Bible to people who are completely unversed in any form of mathematics, right? If you don't know, if you're willing to just drink whatever Kool-Aid someone's serving, you can make any model look okay and say that it has an R-squared value of 0.99, and people eat it up. But at the end of the day, I don't think that it should be the Bible. I don't think it should be. I think that people that don't understand a lot of markets or markets in general think it is the Bible because they want to believe that it's right. I contend that is egregiously wrong. It's hard to keep up with the comments. Again, with the models that predict, first of all, what do we know about models? Does anyone know? There's one statement about models that we know is true. Okay, what am I thinking of with regards to models? Does anyone know? Yeah, as you guys said it, all models are wrong. All models are wrong, right? But what comes after that? Okay, it's a two-part statement, right? So all models are wrong, but what comes after that? Yeah, so Andres Felipe got it. All models are wrong, but some are useful. Right, so even my regression model stuff, I mean, even this stuff, you're going to look back on it, and it's probably not going to be exactly right? I mean, maybe the price of Bitcoin comes below the regression band, right? Maybe it comes up and slightly goes above it, right? All models are wrong. I'm arguing that some models are useful, right? And I think that my models and like the risk models, right? Like these models that show the these risk values, right? I think these are useful. This is my opinion, of course, right? I mean, I wouldn't have made them if I thought they were not useful. But I think these are useful because it's more a mathematical approach to taking profits, right? It's just it's a systematic way to take profits, and the rest is just noise. Well, Bitcoin's back to 10.1. At least we actually came directly down to the 20-week. I mean, if you zoom in here, right? I mean, we went straight to the 20-week moving average, right at around 98.16 or so at the bottom of the wick. We'll see if it holds. We could revisit it again, of course, but the bulls are putting up a fight. I mean, if anything, you can see that the bulls are fighting, right? The bulls are fighting. The 20-week doesn't usually go without a fight. I can tell you that. Even over here, there was a pretty big fight put up. We did not hold it, but there was a fight, right? And when we broke through it here, we instantly sell above it, right? When you break through the 20-week, it tends to do really well in the short term. So the 20-week moving average will not fall without a fight first. So if it does fall, it'll be after the bulls have just become exhausted of defending it. Someone said, what pointed you in the path of the models you use? My undergrad was in mathematics, my master's and PhD are in nuclear engineering. So it's just, things I picked up along the way, right? Just things I picked up along the way. And this is why I use these models. I don't think that a lot of the models of just drawing lines on a chart and calling head and shoulders are really that useful. I don't do any tips or donations. If you're wanting to tip me, I would just say maybe just go invest the money instead, right? Don't tip me. I would prefer it. I'd prefer it if you just keep the money and invest it. If you really wanna check out the premium content, again, you can do that. But don't tip me, right? If you're gonna tip me, at least sign up for the premium list so you can get something in return. I'll put it in the chat. But yeah, don't tip me. And again, the premium list does give you access to a lot of different things, right? The weekly videos, the weekly reports, the private chat room, the risk levels and everything. Prices are going to go up on the 28th, so if you want to get grandfathered in, make sure you sign up before. And by the way, the prices are going to be going up a lot. So if you think they're just going to be going up by 10%, you're wrong. They're gonna be going up a lot. So if you want to get grandfathered in, make sure you sign up sooner rather than later. But again, do not send me tips. I would prefer it if it's like if you're just wanting to tip a small amount of money, just invest it, and hopefully you see a good return. Link has popped back up to around $11 from a low of around 921 or so. John says, why are you putting the price up so much? Basically, it's just supply and demand. Like, I'm just a one-man show, and the administrative stuff to deal with all these people is taking up a lot of time. Therefore, to kind of account for that, I just increase the prices, right? If I increase the prices, the amount of subscriptions I get, future subscriptions goes down, but the price is higher. So it's just economics. And it's also a way to reward people who got in early, right? Early in the market cycle rather than later. I mean, if the weekly, if Bitcoin holds the weekly, the 20 weeks, if someone asked about the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, if Bitcoin holds the weekly moving average, the 20 week, then the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio would likely recover and continue moving up, right? I mean, it could easily continue moving up. But this is a big if, right? This is a big if. If you want to sign up, you just go to intothecryptoverse.com. Also, by the way, let me tell you two more places you guys can go. If you want to check out the Telegram channel, we have two, actually. So the first one is the main one. So in this one, we have almost 6,000 people. But there's another Telegram channel too that a lot of people don't know about, but I just want to mention it. It's called Into the Cryptocosm. And the reason we have this channel is for people that want to talk about like altcoins, like small micro caps, that kind of thing. So I just put it in the chat as well. So if you want to join Into the Cryptocosm, you can talk all you want till your heart's content about micro caps. I don't care. Just go talk about it in there. Leave the discussion for the primary Telegram chat room, maybe to the top, like 10 to 20 coins. If it's anything below that, maybe take it to the Into the Cryptocosm chat. mean, we're basically back to the top of the prior accumulation range, right? So let me go to the 4 hour so you can see it a little bit clearer. So right now, we're essentially at the top of what the prior accumulation range was, right? So if you just drag this and continue it on out, that's where we currently are. And as we've said before too, right, even in a bull market, you're going to have these accumulation ranges, right? And if we are in a bull market and we hold the 20-week, then it still makes sense, right? I mean, you're going to have these, kind of a 2-step forward, 1 step back, right? So like 2 steps forward, and then maybe 1 step back, right? And this isn't a bull market, right? I don't know yet if it's a bull market or not, but if it is, then right, you hold the 20-week, and then you maybe have, like another step forward, and another step forward, and then 1 step back or something. Jason, the difference between the $50 versus the $300 is just if people want to talk to me one-on-one. I don't talk to people one-on-one for the most part, but if people want to talk, that's the difference. Someone said, what price of Bitcoin would make you start to sell your positions? It's not a specific price. It's more a what the risk level is, and the risk levels are dynamic, right? They are dynamic. At the current prices, since we are talking about risk in this video, it would probably be around 13K would be where I would sell 1/15 of my Bitcoin position. But if it takes us another 15, or if it takes us another, say, like 5 months to get to 13K, then by that point the risk level might be higher, and then I might not sell it till 14K. So it depends on how we get there. It's not a very specific number. I think setting specific numbers is a good way to lose a lot of money, right? Like, especially if people say, I'm not going to sell Bitcoin till it hits 100K. Like, that tells me, okay, I should make sure I'm selling a lot of Bitcoin before that, right? Because you don't want to be that guy that says you're not, like, imagine in 2017 if you were the guy that said, I'm not going to sell Bitcoin till it hits 25K. Right. I mean, setting a specific number is somewhat absurd in terms of an absolute value, right? It's all about like dynamic DCA, right? Dynamic DCA on the way up, and then in terms of your sells, and then once it crashes, you buy back in, right? And more so than you're maybe buying at the current levels, right? This is the idea. Someone said, "How did you draw the green line?" This is the green line. It's just a log. It's not. This is not anything fancy. Believe me, it's not fancy. All it is a logarithmic regression fit to what I deemed to be non-bubble data. So just fitting it to data that's not what I consider to be in speculative bubble mode. And this is basically the logarithmic regression fit. And by the way, it has not been refit since this point right here. So anything past right here was not included in the fit. And despite the fact that it was not included in the fit, it still has done a pretty good job, right? I mean, it's still trending upwards, right? And this is what we like to see, right? It's trending upwards. Yes, it maybe goes up and then comes down, but it's still generally trending upwards, right? And this is what we want to see. I hope the regression band can nail the next top, but I'll be sticking to the risk model regardless. If it does nail the next top, it's going to, if you extend this out somewhat loosely, you can see it here. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but if you go to into the Am I back? Thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Hey, what I said was if you're looking for a place to watch the regression band, even when I'm not making videos, you can actually do so at intothecryptocharts.com. And I'll go ahead and put that. This was a fan-made site. This was not. I did not make this site. It was a fan-made site. But you can follow it here. So non-bubble logarithmic regression, you can see, you can follow it. And this has been up for I think 9 months now. So it's been up for a while. So you can see where we are. There's not a difference between the website and Patreon. No, there's not a difference. I would encourage you to do the website because Patreon likes to tack on other fees on top of the subscription, but no, there's not a difference. If the site doesn't load, it's just because a lot of people are trying to access it. I don't control the site. Again, I don't control it, so it could just be that there's a lot of traffic heading to the site. And by the way, I don't think that, I know that the first chart, I don't actually have access to it. I know that this chart is live, and I know that this chart is live too, the regression bands. This chart, the third chart, I don't believe is live, so it's pretty old. Like, I don't think it's been updated in like almost a year. So that one's old. This one's live. This one just shows the tokens traded versus the color, or versus the price, and color coded by time. Price is not going up for current subscribers. If you're grandfathered in, if you're already signed up, of course. So far, it seems like we've put up a fight at the 20-week. Still see if it holds. It is nice to see the wick. I mean, some people say that the 20-week doesn't mean anything, but I mean, we had a wick down exactly to the 20-week moving average, right? I mean, exactly to the 20-week moving average. Like, look at that. We zoom in here. This is the wick, and that is the 20-week. Right down to the 20-week. If you guys want to see the website into the crypto charts, again, it's not my website, so I can't control it, but there it is. If you want access to this, to the risk levels and whatnot, here's my main website, Into the Cryptoverse. Someone is asking, how do you add a moving average to your TradingView chart? So all you do is, if you're on TradingView, you just come up here to this symbol, indicators and strategies. You click on it, right? You go to, you can go to whatever you want, right? I mean, I have a lot of my own personal scripts, but if you want to go to like built-in scripts or something, you just type in moving average. The moving average comes up, you click it, it adds it on. then you can go over here and you can change the time frame of it if you want by clicking on settings and changing the time frame. If someone said if we wick down to close the gap, would it consider the 20-week broken? I would say it needs to be broken on the weekly time frame to be broken. I do pay for TradingView. Make sure you subscribe. Also, click the bell icon if you want notifications of future videos, and give the video a thumbs up. We're actually almost at 1,200 likes. Someone asked where the 20-week is. It's currently at 98.13 or so, depending on what exchange you're using, but it's around 98.12, 98.13. VA Trader 64 says the risk buys sells for Link was extremely profitable. I hope it was. As we showed, I mean, it was just business as usual, right? You systematically take profits on the way up, and that's just what you do, right? You don't care about the noise on YouTube or Twitter saying that it's going to go higher in the short term. You just recognize that the volatility is at a point where it probably is going to be going down soon, and you take profits. Let's go back to the Euro chart really quick. Yeah, so on the Euro, it's still slightly below the 20-week. But only barely. Someone says there's been a lot of hype around September 7th in institutional investing. How do you, if at all, account for environmental factors like this? I don't really account for it. I just don't. How could you really? I mean, how could you accurately account for it? I don't account for it. I just assume that it more or less just feeds into the random walk in the short term. Someone says go to the ice cream store and get your kids a milkshake. That would make my day. Maybe I'll give my son some ice cream after the stream. Correlation with the S&P 500. Yeah, I think you could say it's probably been correlated recently. But if you look at the last 3 Bitcoin bear markets and look at the correlation, one of the times it was positively correlated, one of the times it was negatively correlated, and one of the times it wasn't correlated at all. So yeah, I can't argue against the fact that recently it seems like if the S&P takes a nosedive, Bitcoin does as well. But again, on the premium list, we showed the S&P risk level reached 0.8, which is where I said I was selling 10%. And I mean, it did, and now it's dropped back down to like 0.73 or something. Just because we haven't really spent a lot of time above 0.8 in the past. Someone says, when the bubble pops, are you going to reinvest? Yeah, of course I'll reinvest, right? I mean, it's even on the way down. You know, there's still ways that you can make money, right? There's still some key points where it tends to hold as support and then rises back up before continuing its macro level downtrend. You know, one of the things I say, right, is business as usual. Well, there's going to come a time, right, maybe in 3 or 4 years, where business as usual would be for going down just week after week, month after month, right? I'm probably not going to stream too much longer, but I'm worried that the minute I end the stream, we're going to fall through the 20 week, and then I'm going to get a lot of messages being like, oh, we fell through it right after the stream ended. Someone said, do you have any investments in the housing market? Not right now, but probably will in maybe 2 or 3 years. I'll probably try to scoop up some properties. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, please. Give the video a thumbs up if you like the content. Oh, we're back below 10K again. Oh, now back above it. I'm in the States. Someone said, if you don't think stock to flow is a credible model, what year do you see Bitcoin hitting all-time high? As I've said many times, I think the earliest would be the end of 2022. I don't think that's going to happen. I would say somewhere in 2023 is the most likely year to hit the new all-time high, potentially 2024. But I think 2023 is kind of like the Goldilocks zone of where the new all-time high will be. Certainly not 2021. Like 2021 is like incredibly low probability. And again, I mean, we're still on the path, right? Still on that macro path to 20K, right? Nothing has changed. You know, we're still on this path, and the way that we get there is somewhat irrelevant, right? We just take advantage of bubbles when they form. So I would say everything is still okay as of now, right? Everything still seems like it is on track. And again, I've often contended, I'd say end of 2021 to the beginning of 2022. So this move here, I mean, it could go slightly out further. It could come in a little bit. I don't know. I'm just drawing it to January of 2022. But it could be as, I say quarter, maybe it could be the last quarter of 2021 to get to a sustainable 20K, or maybe a few months into 2022. This is my theory anyways, right? Tom says, surely 2024 is too late. Would we not have time for another bear market, as we would have a new halving in 2024? This is the whole idea, is that the next halving will not contribute to a new bull market. It will not catalyze a new bull market. It will help curb the effects of the next bear market. So it'll make the next bear market be not quite as bad, as opposed to catalyzing the next bull market. This is my theory anyways. Thanks, James, for the comment. Someone says, is investing in a mining rig better than DCA? I mean, the thing with mining rigs is there's a lot of other costs involved. I mean, like Ethereum miners were making a lot of money recently, because of the fees. I feel like if you really want to do it, you can. But my thinking is like, why go through all the hassle? I'd rather just DCA, is my opinion. But I mean, I have mined before. I'm not doing it right now though. Make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I think we have more likes on this video than I've ever gotten on a live stream before. So thanks for liking the video. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to end the stream soon because I can't stay on too long. We've already been on for over 2 hours now. And we've held it so far. The key thing after I go off the stream, just to watch out for, is look for a weekly close below the 20-week. So a weekly close below the 20-week is, in my opinion, it's very bearish. So far, things could, I know it seems really bearish right now, and it is if it continues to go down. But if we get lucky and we bounce off, like things could go back to being bullish relatively quickly. Okay. And then, you could imagine a scenario in a few weeks where people are just like, oh, did you buy the dip, right? But again, or you imagine this scenario in a few weeks where people just say, oh, I told you Bitcoin was going to zero. One of the things to be on the lookout for is, now that it's gone down, is look out for all the people calling for 1,800 Bitcoin. This is going to happen like every single time, 1,800 Bitcoin. So be on the lookout for people screaming that again. Thanks for the comments, Anna Muzzle. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Someone said, would you increase your dynamic DCA during these periods? So Bitcoin is still, it's still relatively higher risk, like 0.4. To increase the DCA, I would need to see to increase the weekly DCA, I would need to see the risk level to come down a bit more. Until then, it's kind of like the minimum amount. But I already hold a ton of Bitcoin, so I'm not too concerned. Someone said, when did you get into crypto? I first got into it or looked into it in 2011. I was taking a cryptography class in undergrad mathematics because that was my major. And then so 2011, I didn't buy it in 2011, but that was when I first started investigating it. Charlie says he did math at university too. Yeah, it's a good subject for sure. No, I don't tell you how much crypto I hold. I don't think Litecoin is worth a try, not right now. That's my opinion, not financial advice. The risk model that we talked about, it's not public. It's just, the risk levels are just provided in the premium list. So if you're talking about this, it's just provided in the premium list. I don't tell you what percentages exactly, but I can tell you I own more equities than crypto. Someone says, why not Litecoin? We actually did we talked about Litecoin and XRP earlier in the video, so I'm not going to go through it again. But in general, they bleed until Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high over the macro scale against Bitcoin. So that's the reason. Go back and watch the video if you want to see the specifics of that. Yeah, this is not my day job. This is just a hobby. Yeah, I mean, I'll do a video on the risk metric, probably tonight or tomorrow, just because it has been a while since I showed it on the channel. But there's various strategies. There's even a dynamic DCA strategy tab where you can put in how much crypto you own, and obviously it's anonymous. And if you don't think it's anonymous, you can also just make up a number, right? It doesn't really matter. And then it'll show you various sell strategies based on various risk tolerance levels and what you think the projected peak of Bitcoin or Ethereum is. So this is the risk metric, right? Color coded blue to red from 0 to 1. So times like this, when the market gets so fearful, is a great time to invest. In my opinion, not financial advice, of course. Someone says he's new to crypto, bought some Bitcoin at 7,500. Why does it sound like people are unhappy with 20,000 Bitcoin in 2022? He would be thrilled. It's because people are disenfranchised with a lot of traditional markets. Most people here in crypto are kind of here to get like the 10x gains, and don't want to wait, years to see Bitcoin go to 20K. What's fascinating to me is how so many people think it'll go to 20K before then, when it hasn't been to 20K since 2017. Like, it's already been, almost 3 years since it was at 20K. But for some reason, the thought of it taking another 18 months is absurd. Someone says, what does your gut tell you what Bitcoin's going to do? It doesn't matter, man. My gut feeling is completely pointless. I don't trade based on what my gut tells me. Rodrigo says, how often are the risk metrics updated for the premium members? You can access them live on the Google Sheets risk dashboard, which show you the interpolated values, and those are updated once a week, generally speaking. Sometimes more frequently, but usually around once a week, and it's the live risk value interpolated from the various risk levels. I do file taxes every year, yes. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. The price has, at least for now, it seems to have stabilized around 10K. Remember, if you want access to the premium list, just check out intothecryptoverse.com. We try to take a more mathematical approach rather than trading based on the gut. That way you take profits on the way up, you dynamically DCA more on the way down, and then you just keep rinsing and repeating. So check it out. Prices are going up September 28th. If you want to get grandfathered in before that, it's intothecryptoverse.com, so sign up before that period if you want to get grandfathered in. Remember, you can check out the Telegram channel. I'll put that in the chat as well. Please subscribe, right? If you like the content, want a more level-headed approach, subscribe to the channel. Please give the video a thumbs up, turn on your notifications. I think that'll wrap it up. Keep an eye on the 20-week. We've had the wick down to the 20-week so far. We had a wick identically to the 20-week moving average, so keep an eye on it. Look for the weekly close. If it closes below, it's probably the bad news bears for a little bit. If we hold it as support, if we hold it as support, right, then there's a good chance it'll just quickly turn around. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye.